Most workplace violence attacks last 7 seconds or less before the victim is incapacitated. 7 seconds, that's not enough to de-escalate anything. So if your workplace violence prevention training is built entirely around calming someone down, you've got a gap. I'm going to show you exactly what that gap looks like using something that happened to me. Hey, I'm Mike Corwin, and I help small California employers comply with California's workplace violence prevention requirements, keep your employees safer, and protect your business against lawsuits and other financial risks so that you can keep doing what you love to do. California requires annual training in strategies to avoid physical harm. Now, California doesn't define what they mean by that, and that's intentional because strategies to avoid physical harm has to be dependent upon the specific situations that your employees deal with. Boilerplate will not survive a real threat. Situational reason does. Now, I'm not against de-escalation. I do include that when I provide trainings and strategies to avoid physical harm. And I learned how to de-escalate by serving court papers. But you have to understand that most attacks happen with zero warning. And that means you don't have a chance to de-escalate. And there's something else. Active shooter training, the run, hide, fight training that everybody talks about, that gets outsized attention relative to its risk because, as a matter of fact, less than 1% of workplace violence incidents involve an active shooter. That means that 99% of what employers need to train their people at looks very different from active shooter. Many years ago, when I first started working as an investigator doing litigation investigations for attorneys, I was working late at night and decided to go out and get a cup of coffee. I crossed the street, and as I was walking up to the 24-hour donut shop, a man stepped out from the shadows and he blocked my path on the sidewalk. Now, there were a lot of homeless people in this area, and I knew that they could potentially carry weapons because being homeless involves a lot of risk. So as I approached him, all of a sudden I saw light reflect off of something in his hand, and he was trying to hide that hand. I realized at that point that chances are pretty good that was a weapon and that I was in trouble. Now, I couldn't turn around and go back across the street because there was a lot of traffic, so I had to come up with something on the fly. But because I saw that flash of light, it gave me a chance to do that, and I realized the most important thing is don't stop, because chances are pretty good he was trying to commit armed robbery. So as I walked up and started to go past him, he said, "Hey, do you know what time it is?" That's a great ploy because most people will stop, look at their watch, and respond. Now, I didn't want to set him off. I didn't, want to push boundaries in case he had some mental health issues. So I looked down at my watch, told him what time it was, but kept on walking. Now, here's the really interesting part. After I got far enough away, I turned and looked back, and it seemed to me that this guy had used this ploy successfully in the past and was kind of shocked that it didn't work. Now, what happened here is I realized situational awareness was truly critical to safety. And it's something that I incorporated when I would do my witness interviews, because in those days, I worked in a lot of bad neighborhoods, and I simply walked up to someone's home, knocked on the door, and convinced them to be interviewed. Now, that meant I had to figure out ways to keep myself safe because I didn't know who was at home. I didn't know if there were weapons in the house. I also didn't know what the layout was like in the home. So as I approached the home, I took in everything that I could about the person and about the home. And I did things like map exit strategies, look for objects that I could use in case I needed to as a weapon, and figured out to make sure that I could never be trapped in the home. And sometimes when I read the situation, I realized that the best thing to do was to not go in the house, and I conducted the witness interview standing right there on the front porch. All right, so here's what I've come up with that I do for employers. I use what's called the if-then strategy. And what I do has to work for all four source types of workplace violence: for invitees, for the public, for coworkers, and family members of your employees. And what I focus on is being able to apply different tools at different times depending upon what the circumstances are. So those tools might include communicating your safety concerns to others, the buddy system, parking lot safety, changing the dynamics of an attack, violent incident response teams, and simple self-defense. Look, this isn't a box that you can check. It's the difference between a plan that looks good on paper and one that will actually protect your people. If you run a small California business with a public-facing worksite, I've put together a free 15-minute compliance and safety snapshot call. The link's in the description below. Let's look at where you are with your training and what types of things you'll need to do to actually keep your employees safer.